guys, it's Miss Tickle, and we are going to work on Chapter 3, Lesson 2, the Agricultural Revolution. And it matters because the Agricultural Revolution allowed people to set up permanent settlements. Okay, Neolithic times. So when we are talking about, I'm trying to get technology to work. When we are talking about neo, this means new. When we are talking about lithic, it means stone. Okay, so neo is new, remember that, because it's different than the paleo. Paleo was the old, neo's the new. So this began around 8000 BC and then lasted until around 4000 BC. That's about 4,000 years, but you guys already knew that because you now know how to do your elapsed time, right? So if you look down here on the timeline, you can see 8000 BC. It says the new Stone Age begins, Neolithic Agricultural Revolution. 4000 BC and a little bit before the after the 4000 BC, the first civilizations emerge. Okay, so here we have that climate is gradually warming. So if climate is gradually warming and we just came from the Paleolithic time, what does that mean? The Paleolithic era was the, say it, Ice Age. So if the climate's warming, what's going to happen to all that ice? It's melting. It's coming down. All of the ice is going away. This is going to lead to people moving into areas with a mild climate and fertile land. They've just gotten away from all that cold, so now they want that mild, fertile, mild climate and fertile land. Okay, now we're going to see that humans develop agriculture. And right here, I want you to put a circle around that word agriculture. Underline farming. Humans develop agriculture and farming and domestication. Put a circle around domestication. This is the taming of animals for human use. This is also a vocab word. You need to know it. So circle those, underline them. Remember, do it. I'm looking. Says Ms. Hodges and Mr. Kennedy. Okay, so once they've developed their agriculture and domestication, this is going to lead to permanent settlements. Put a star by that. Permanent settlements. So you have agriculture. People don't have to move around anymore. They've settled because they can now have farming. Why would you want to pack up everything and go find new land for new farming if you found an area that can give you the food you need? So you stay there. You have that permanent settlement and a constant food supply, which creates a surplus or more than is needed. Put the star by surplus, okay? By having that permanent settlement, you're getting that constant food supply and you're getting more than what you need. That is then going to lead to a population growth. Circle it, population growth, okay? So if everybody's settled, you've got a constant food supply, you've got more than you need to feed everyone, your population's going to grow. The size of your people is going to increase. Okay, you can see here, whoops, what did I do? You can see here, let me erase all your little lines. There you go. You can see here, we learned in our Ice Age map that in class that humans first started out in Africa and they began to migrate out. You take a look at the red areas are where the agriculture and farming first began. So you don't see them developing by the seawater, okay? If you take a look, each one of those has rivers in there. They found that fresh water that works with their crops and their agriculture for growing, and we are going to see more settlements forming by river valleys. Okay? Okay. Now I'm going to get rid of all those lines for you. Ha! Looky there. And now you have a hot question. So, why might a Neolithic village be surrounded by thick walls? Take a look at your picture here. This is giving you an example of thick walls that surrounded a village. Why would you want to protect that village? You need to use vocab in this. There are vocab that tie into it, and yes, it's going to require you to think about which ones you can strategically use in there, but there are about 3, maybe 4 of them that you could fit in there that will tie into your answer. 3 sentences minimum. If we don't see that, then you know that you're going to lose points. So minimum 3 sentences, make sure you get the vocab in there and use that historical evidence. Now Ms. Hodges is going to talk to you. Bye.
All right, so Ms. Tickle just talked to you about the Neolithic man and how the changes in environment and how changes in agriculture led to a different way of life. And the main distinction you need to make between the Paleolithic and the Neolithic man is that now they don't have to hunt and gather for their food anymore. They can actually grow it themselves with this advanced agriculture and the ability to grow your own food and harvest your own food. And we'll talk more about that in class in our gummy bear experiment, and y'all will really like that. So let's work through this one. So in order for this idea of a permanent settlement to take place, you have to have steady food. The food has to be there or the people won't stay. So the food is the first thing that's necessary for that to happen. Then once you have a steady food supply, then you're able to have people that will come to your area and want to live in your village because you have food and because now you have an ability to feed all these people and they can come and stay. When they come and they stay with you, then you have more people to work and make food. And so now there's more food than we can even eat. And what that leads to is a surplus. And that surplus of food now allows for some options in life to happen that they didn't have before. So the Paleolithic man never really had enough to eat. He spent all his time searching for food. The Neolithic man, and we're talking about this new age right here. Oh, it didn't circle for me. This Neolithic, the new man, he does have enough food. And so now he has more options available to him than he had before. And that allows for specialization of labor. Please put a star by that or a heart or something that draws your attention to that specialization. Because specialization of labor is an amazing event that happens in human history. Because of the agricultural revolution, now we have this idea of specialization, and this means that we can divide up our labor. Not everybody needs to be a farmer anymore. We had that surplus. We had more than we could actually eat. We had a surplus. And so if we have a surplus, remember, if I write it, you write it too. If we have a surplus, well, what else can you do? You could make jewelry. You could become a weapons maker and get very skilled at making weapons to defend people. Look at the pottery here. That took some time and effort. That took a skilled worker, somebody who was a specialist, somebody who could really make a difference in the development of that item in the pottery. So specialization of labor is a big benefit of the agricultural revolution. So the end of this, during the late part of the Neolithic time period, workers in some region began to find metal, another resource that was available for them, copper specifically. And so copper was used to make tools, and that is the end of the Neolithic period, Neolithic age, and it sends us into what's called the Bronze Age. The Bronze Age is where craftspeople begin to mix copper and tin, and that creates bronze. It's stronger than copper, and it's going to be widely used. And so the end of the Neolithic period brings about the Bronze Age with new weapons, and they start using metal to make their tools. And so the difference between Paleolithic man and Neolithic man is going to be the agricultural revolution. And then Neolithic man moving into the Bronze Age is the ability to use that metal to make new tools. So that's the transition for these different time periods. Here you can see some of the tools that they would have used. These were farming implements, farming tools that they would have used, and other tools to get jobs done. And so it was a really interesting time period. When you get all of that and you get all those things working together, you get a civilization that will develop. And a civilization has to have certain things in order to be a civilization. So if you don't have a city, if you don't have religion, if you don't have a social structure, this is the grapes we were talking about, your geography, the religion, the accomplishments, political systems, economics, and social structure. If you don't have those things, those elements, then you don't have a civilization. You still have a village. You have Paleolithic and Neolithic conditions, not the Bronze Age village. So these things are necessary. So for each element of this wheel, fill in the blanks in the bubble, of course, and then draw a picture that represents that. So definitely for our cities and government, one of the things you could draw could be a crown for a monarchy. That's how our first governments are going to start, with monarchies there. And then you could draw things for writing and art. You could draw something for the social structure. We typically draw some kind of pyramid for the social structure. And we talk about the social structure, about who has power and who doesn't have any power. We'll talk about all these in class. So fill in the blanks and then draw a picture that would represent that aspect of a civilization, or that detail. Sorry, I keep squishing down. That detail about a civilization. See, it's always important. I know your moms tell you stand up straight, sit up straight. It's important to do that. Then you can be in the video like you should be. So anyway, fill in your blanks. Cities and government, religion, writing and art, and social structure. We're getting ready to talk. We're getting ready to really use grapes in the next session, in the next chapter, and that's going to be how we classify our civilization. So the grapes of me that you did is getting ready to come in really handy in chapter 4. But right now, let's finish up chapter 3 successfully and get where we need to be. All right. So remember, you have a test on Friday. Make sure you're prepared for that and that you're finishing all your video notes and completing all of the activities and paying attention in class. I will see you soon. Thanks, guys.